Okay, 8 facts about lifting weights and seniors. In other words, about the importance of getting strong, lifting weights as we get older. How are we classifying seniors? Your choice. It can be 60s and older, it can be grandparents, your choice there, but these are 8 facts that are real important. I tend to get a little wordy, so I'll try to keep it relatively quick. Number 1, lifting weights. As you're going to see in this video, as you're seeing in this footage right now, lifting weights is not just for younger folks. And in fact, it is more important. Getting stronger is even more important as we get older. So yes, it's great in your teens, in your 20s, in your 30s, but as we get older, that strength becomes absolutely more important. So lifting weights is not just for younger folks. Number 2, we don't just lift weights for the benefits to our muscles. Yes, that's important, right? We get stronger muscles. That's hugely important, but also your bones, your tendons, your ligaments, all of those become stronger as well, right? Bones, that's a real important thing. If you're trying to fend off osteoporosis, trying to fight off osteopenia, that's real important for your bones to get stronger. So lifting weights, not just for your muscles. With that in mind, fact number 3, 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, if you're asking me, and you are watching this video, I'm going to recommend barbells over machines. Machines are not the enemy. There are some machines out there that are pretty useful. A leg press can be real useful, especially if someone is not strong enough to squat in the beginning, or a lat pull down. That's a real useful machine when people can't yet do chins, and most people will start with pull downs as opposed to chins. But in general, barbells do, first of all, they tend to be bigger bang for your buck exercises, right? A squat uses a whole lot of joints, therefore a whole lot of muscle mass. Machines tend to be, not always, but tend to be less bang for your buck, and they tend to do a worse job of loading, in other words, of applying appropriate stress to your skeleton. There are exceptions, of course, but I'm going to recommend barbells over machines most of the time. Number 4, it can't be light. Now I'm going to qualify that. What I mean is it needs to start off at a very potentially light weight in the beginning. Day 1 has got to be manageable. It needs to not leave you real sore going into, subsequent days, so that you can productively not only go through life, but also come back and train productively 2 days later, right? Like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday scheme. The kicker is it can't stay light. So your squat may start with 5 pounds, but don't keep squatting 5 pounds day after day after day. You've squatted 5 pounds successfully, you've graduated. Now move on to 10 pounds and then move on to 15 pounds, or maybe move on to 17 pounds and then move on to 18 pounds, right? We can make some smaller jumps. But remember, when you got done with 2nd grade, what did you do? You moved on, you went to 3rd grade. Repeating 2nd grade over and over and over again turns out doesn't make you much better at 2nd grade. But by the time you get to 4th grade, by the time you get to 5th grade, 2nd grade is real easy. So you need to make progress, you need to gradually add load. Number 5, lifting weights, getting stronger is hugely important for balance, right? It allows us to stay in balance, right? To maintain our balance in the first place. But also, a real important thing is everybody trips at times. And a reasonable way to describe being in balance is, yes, keeping your center of mass over the base of support. But also you could say that staying in balance is simply your ability to not fall over. And we all trip no matter what age we're at. And the ability to, when you trip, assuming that you can get your foot down fast enough, right, to plant that foot down, which requires a certain amount of force production to begin with. When you plant that step down, that's a hard step right there, right? That's a significant amount of force production into the floor. Are you strong enough at that point to take that step, to support yourself on that leg that goes out? Because if you're not, then that's a fall, right? And that's potentially a broken hip or a broken wrist or something like that. So your ability to maintain your balance, to regain your balance when you do trip is very heavily strength dependent. So getting stronger, hugely important for balance. Number 6, barbells are just a tool. And for someone who's never been in a gym before, who's never used a barbell before, they kind of see that gym culture, that bro culture, and it can be kind of intimidating. But remember, and we'll link to a whole bunch of videos below on how to learn to lift properly, how to squat, how to bench press, how to deadlift in a very non-intimidating, very gradual fashion. But barbells are just a wonderful tool that are very, very incremental, right? We can start off with a very light weight. We've got 11-pound barbells. We've got barbells made out of PVC pipe. And then we can make small jumps. You may have to get yourself a set of fractional plates if your gym doesn't have it, but that's easily accessible. You can get that on Amazon. That's not a big problem at all. You can make 1-pound jumps, 2-pound jumps. Of course, you can make bigger pound jumps, right? 5-pound jumps, 10-pound jumps, stuff like that. But you can make very small, very manageable jumps, right? Deadlifting is just picking up a sock off the floor. correctly, right? That's what we're interested in doing. We're interested in doing it correctly. Then picking up 2 socks, 3 socks, 4 socks, right? This is the type of incremental loading that we're talking about with barbells. Yes, is it probably a little bit bigger than a sock? Probably, but you get the idea. Barbells are incremental in a way that dumbbells are not terribly incremental, and that machines and bands certainly are not. Number 7, there's an appropriate place for everybody to start, regardless of your age, regardless of your strength level, regardless of your history of injury. You're going to see people in these videos of all different ages, all different strength levels, various injuries in their past. Some of them have had hip replacements or knee replacements or shoulder surgeries, right? There's an appropriate place to start. It needs to be simply manageable on day 1. And last, number 8, lifting begets independence. Lifting gets you stronger, and strength begets independence, right? The day that you can no longer, somebody once told me this a long time ago, had a real profound influence on the importance, on the view of the importance of strength that I took. The day that you can no longer squat is the day that you can no longer get up off of a toilet by yourself. And the day that you can't get up off a toilet by yourself is the day that we can no longer live by ourselves, right? So that's a real important thing. So strength begets independence. So take a look at some of the videos that we're going to link to below. Get stronger, lift weights, start at a real manageable point. Remember that manageable point, that appropriate starting point is going to look different to everyone, but there is an appropriate place to start. And we hope this helps you get stronger and live better.